Thanks for joining me on this tutorial, guys. I'd like to introduce you to the new trilogy Jedi Training Helmet. And that is this guy here. And as you can see, it is based on the original classic trilogy, that is, A-Wing helmet. So A-Wing helmet has a few little modifications. I'm going to be showing you the training helmet kit in detail, and I'll show you the few of the mods that have to happen. We've got to do a couple mods here in the cheek area, little mod on the vent, but I was really happy to see that they used a classic design and modified it into this really cool, unique A-Wing helmet. I'm really liking this design. This is the classic A-Wing helmet. There's a few mods that have to happen to this shell, just two quick little mods. But here's all the parts. We've got the top cap. These are the side pieces for the top cap, and there's two tiny little nuts that are laser cut pieces. Resin knobs that fit in here. This guy goes here. You've got vinyl decals and cheek tabs. More resin details. These are connected with wires on this cheek. So here's a little vent piece that goes into this hole, and then you've got your blast shield. There's two mods we need to do to this helmet shell. This is being really anal with the build, but there's a couple mods. These vents aren't as long, so I'm going to mark off where they're going to be abbreviated. I'm going to put a piece of tape across this and then some Bondo and fill this area in here, because these vents only go from there to there. Also, on this cheek, this piece is going to be trimmed off about like this. I'll get a ruler and I'll make that a nice straight line, but this gets shaved off just about like that. If you can see that mark I made on both sides. Alright, here's the cheeks shaved down. I'll manually sand these around, and then it looks like I need a little bit of filler, some Bondo, fill that cheek in. It's better to use a piece of door insulation, this thick foam, because I need to build up a little bit of edge on this area. So I'm just packing that in. Okay, that's it for the mods. I've angled those cheeks. I've reduced the size of these openings. I also filled in the little divot that's here. That's an artifact from the A-Wing helmet, classic trilogy A-Wing helmet. And before I go further, before I paint this, I want to show you a trick to adjust this helmet. Now, depending on how tight you want this to your cheeks, if you have a larger head, smaller face, whatever your proportions are, you can adjust the width of these cheeks. I'm going to show you how. So I feel like these are a little bit wide right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink it. And in order to see what I'm doing, I'm going to make a mark on the insides of the cheeks. That's the inside line. So what I want to do is just shrink it by, I don't know, I'm going to shrink it by a good, probably 1/4 inch at least, maybe a little bit more. And we do that with a heat gun. This resin is very flexible when it's hot. So what I'll do is I'll just apply an even amount of heat. I'll do that for about a minute. I'll flex it a little bit just to see where I'm at, and then bend it in, push it in. And I've got my two little hash marks here so I can see where I want to end up. I just want to be a little bit tighter on those cheeks. Okay, so I'm a little bit flexy here. You can see I can bend this out or in. I'm looking at my hash marks here, and I'm just going to push it in just slightly. I'm just going to hold this. If you had somebody with you, you can have them spray this part down with cold water, and it'll set into that new position. You can widen this helmet out quite a bit, or you can tighten it up as much as you want. As usual, I like using a flat board with sandpaper to level out the greeblies. This little tab glues right to the center of that. And then this vent fin will fit perfectly right here. I have to show you guys something. This is painted, all the chrome pieces I painted in Spaztex which is a very respectable chrome paint. This is the first time I'm using Molotow liquid chrome. Watch this. This stuff is amazing. It's blowing my mind right now. Okay, this is just a little Molotow liquid chrome into my airbrush. And look at the difference on this. It's crazy. I mean, it's like it's really shiny. I use a bandsaw to cut on the indicated lines on the top visor. So you end up with a piece like this. And the blast shield, same thing, just cut on the lines and you'll end up with this piece. During the making of this video, I've redesigned the right cheek button. The first one was a little bit small, and I got a better reference photo, so now I broke it up into 3 parts. So we have this top piece here, we have the resized button, and a little flat base. Okay, let's paint these guys. I've got my helmet shell, I've got my top cap, my blast shield, and the 2 cheek pieces. And these are going heirloom white. This is a base color. I might adjust this a little bit warmer or a little grayer. I'm not really sure yet until I see it. It's my first time I've ever built one of these. And this is your barcode for Rust-Oleum heirloom white. Just like the classic A-wing helmet, I'm going to knock down the warmth of this with my custom mix of 1 part deck tan Tamiya to about 5 parts white. And you end up with this classic color here for it's most of the base color for most of the models. I've got my my high volume airbrush here. All the parts are painted. Now because we're going to be masking red on this and masking gray on that, we're going to want to clear coat all these parts. I'm just using a standard Rust-Oleum matte clear coat. Just give it a light coating or 2. These areas are masked off pretty cleanly. I've got paper covering the rest, and we are going to airbrush red onto those spots. Next, we're going to assemble the top cap. We have the side plates and 2 nuts that go on the side plates, and it's really hard to see, but I laser cut little holes to indicate where those nut heads go, there and there. Okay, I've got the cap masked off on both sides, and we are going to shoot these areas with a medium gray. Finish these edges with automotive black pinstripe, just like we do with the classic A-wing helmet. You get a nice clean edge. Here's the top cap finished with the pinstripe. I'm going to finish the interior of this helmet with this foam liner, this custom laser cut foam liner. The padding on this helmet is handled with faux leather pleather. This is like a very light colored orangey leather, and cotton batting, cotton tube. And you need 5 feet, almost 5 feet of each. And I won't go into detail. I think I do a little more detail in the Y-wing helmet and the A-wing helmet tutorials. But you flip this over, little spray 77 is applied to this, and then you wrap the tube. Here we are now with the padding secured in place. I just used just regular cyanoacrylic with a little spray kicker. Did about 5 or 6 inches at a time, and you can see it's completely wrapped around that inner perimeter all the way. Alright, now it's time to get the visor in place. And I adjusted these a tiny bit so that they have a really good tight fit. So we're going to glue this on. I think I'm going to be using some 5-minute epoxy. I'll probably tack it on with some super glue and spray kicker, and then I'll back it up real heavy with 5-minute epoxy on the inside. Just really, really secure this down. You want this super cemented so it does not move. The top shell is very securely in place. Really happy with that. Let's move on to the decals. So we have an orange circle that lives over here in this spot, if you can see that. And then I've got two more. I'm going to go ahead and separate these. So that goes that way, and then this guy lives here on the side. Actually, wrong way. It will live right here. So I'm not going to go into detail with the vinyl decals. Just a little soapy water applied to the surface, separate the decal, put it down, adjust as necessary, peel the tape back, squeegee it, and let it dry. I'm going to begin weathering on this. Before I start adding any of the silver greeblies, I want to get a base tone on this of a smoky, dark, extremely dark gray, and then a little bit of brown. This is brown with a bit of yellow in there to warm it up. Very minimal. Right here, this will be right here. And make sure that there's wires coming out of all these too, so make sure that you pre-drill holes so you can more easily place these wires. And then on this side, it's this lovely piece right there. And again, you're going to want to drill 2 holes for wires that come down, and you want to drill holes also on this. And I believe this is here, and this silver piece here. I'm introducing some aging, some battle damage, some wear and tear with a stick and some acrylic paint. In addition to the black chipping, there's a little bit of silver chipping in a few tiny little areas. So I'm just applying that really subtly with this tiny brush. This is a Tamiya dark gray with very, very watered down with ISO. Rey's helmet has 3 scorch marks, but not Luke's. So what I did is I clear coated this visor so I can wipe off what I'm about to do. So I've got my very dark gray in the airbrush here, very low PSI, and I'm just gonna put these scorch marks, kind of go back like this. There's one. There's 2. Give them a little bit of a halo at the base. And then here's 3. And then what I'll do is I'll come in and just a straight black right at the base and just a little bit of a black stripe. I dare say this is a completed helmet. The blast shield I have on here pressure fit, and it will slide up and stay in position up here, but I imagine that you could probably build a track on the interior of the upper visor here so that the edges slide on it, and these details turned out amazing. I'm really happy with this build. It took me about 2.5 days to do this from kit to finished helmet. Make sure you check the links in the description for a look at how this was built from scratch and a look at my other tutorials. Thanks for watching.